mute myself. Oh, so that's the first faux pas. Hello and welcome everyone. It's our first live on YouTube. Myself. Oh, so that's the first faux pas. Hello and welcome everyone. It's our first live on YouTube. Myself. I don't know. That's the first faux pas. Hello and welcome everyone. It's our first. Do you know what? I must have a YouTube. I must have. Oh dear. Are we? That's better. Hopefully without the echo now. Yeah. Oh goodness. I was totally flummoxed there. So yeah, we've got some great questions tonight. So I think you're going to love this one. I knew there would be some little technical hiccups, but it looks like we're all good. Give me a thumbs up in the comments. I've got comments up on my other computer. Oh, Nikki Taylor's saying slightly biased, but still, I'll take it. I'll take it. So I know that we've got 3 questions that I've had in advance, and they're fantastic questions. And one of them, I'll start off with the first one. It's all about how much money does it really take to set up a rent-to-rent business? Now, I know that people do get really worried about this because they think that it actually takes a lot of money to get into property, and it can do. But one of the reasons why people like rent to rent is because you don't need as much money to go into it. But we were actually surprised how much money it takes to start up a rent to rent business when you total it all up. So what I would like you to guess in the comments, if you can play along with me. That was a lot of Stephanies. Yeah, too many Stephanies. One is more than enough. That's what Nikki says. Right, so including everything, registering your limited company, your domain, your telephone number, your business card, website, insurances, ICO, PRS, website, everything you need to be compliant and ready to roll. How much do you think it costs to set all that up for your new business? We have actually got a business costs tracker that we give to everyone who's going through our coaching. And so we've totted all this up and worked it out. And we would love you to guess, and let's see whether it's more or less than what you would think. And the prize, that I'm going to give a prize as well to the person who's the closest to it tonight. And the prize is going to be both the business costs tracker itself, and also, and this is one that I know that people have been asking about, the new marketing letters and the 5P formula for how to write amazing marketing letters. So, oh great, so we've had one comment there saying £500. Oh, I can see some of our rent-to-rent stars who are already on the coaching and who know the answer to the question, so obviously you're barred from entry. Oh, £600, yes, so brilliant. So I'm going to come back to that question to give you chance to all vote on, or not vote, but say, how much do you think it is to set up your fully compliant rent-to-rent business? Just the basics, not for any refurbs or anything like that, just the basics. And I'll come back and have a look at those. And I can see we've had some comments already. Peter Clark said 500. Lara has said 600. Frankie said 200. Zoo has said 350. Ali has said 5,000 to 8,000. That's quite a bit up. How do you see the change? Right, and Paul Hutton's asked the question. So I'm going to come back to your question, Paul. Lewis, I won't read that anymore. You get the picture. People are voting. So I'm going to come back to that at the end and also announce the winner. Right, so Lewis Clark has asked, what is the best way to structure a website? This is a great question as well, because I know that a website is one of the things that people worry about when they're setting up their rent-to-rent business. And really, it's not one of the most important things, but I think it is a good to have, because especially if you're going to agents, they will look online and check you out. But all you need to have there is a very simple website. And I don't want you to spend a long time on it either. And I have got 2 websites to show you, actually. And they're both from fantastic people who've been on our coaching program, and they've in just, well, Lois her website's very advanced. And Ollie, his website is the simple website that I'm suggesting you set up. And even though I say it's a simple website, when I show it to you, you'll see it's a lovely looking website. And he did it himself. And I'm going to tell you the price of them as well. So this is where it could all go wrong. But I'm going to share my screen so that I can talk to you about the websites and show them to you. But before I can say that, Lewis, you've asked how to structure it, and how I say is to just keep things as simple as possible. So a home page, a landlord's page, a tenant's page, and an about page, about stroke contact page, okay? And then optionally, if you're going to be doing a lot of work with agents, you can have an agent's page as well if you want. Now, some people have all of those on one page, so but those are the basic things to have, and I would suggest you start off with. So let me share my screen and see if I can show you. Oh my gosh, that's the second time it's all worked out. So this is Ollie's website, and as you can see, it's lovely, isn't it? And his is a one-page website. No, when I say this, I mean the landlord's there. It's not in a separate page. Then it's the agents. Then it's the tenants. And at the top, let me move myself out of the way. There's a contact us, and you can give. So that's fantastic in my eyes, because it's just simple. It looks professional. People can get in contact with him. They know that he's a business, and it easily says what Blue Column Property's done. I think Ollie's done a great job there, and he did that himself using Squarespace, and he pays for that £13 a month, including hosting, and that's it. His domain cost him a tenner. So fantastic value and a great job, and that's the sort of thing. I mean, not exact that design, obviously. Now, this is Lois's, which is My Cozy Homes. Now, she spent a lot more on her website, and I think you can see that it looks like it's been professionally designed. And as you can see, there's a fantastic picture of Lois on the About page, and all about Lois's background and so on. And then it's the same, landlords and agents and so on. The thing why this is a next step website, so not one that you would set up just at the beginning before you've even got your first deal, when you're just seeing how things go, but later on when you up level, then you would do this. And Lois has got a blog, and I really do recommend that you also have a blog, because that really helps you on the Google rankings. And on this next tab here, in our Rent to Rent Success YouTube channel, there is a video which is called Rent to Rent Marketing Secrets to Grow Your Business Faster. And that includes what I'm talking about with the Google, that having a blog really helps you. So not suggesting it if you're just setting up your business. I think go for one that's like Ollie's, really affordable and easy to do yourself. Ollie's used Squarespace, but you could also use Wix or any of those DIY style, what they call it, or you can outsource it really inexpensively. And I've heard of people having a simple website like the one Ollie's done, made for £50 on WordPress. So entirely up to you. I will stop sharing and I put myself back. And if you have any questions about what I've mentioned about the website, let me know. And I'm going to come to other questions in a moment when I've gone through the questions that I had in advance. So next up, we have got Dorian West. And he said he's hoping to be here on the live. Are you here, Dorian? Let me know. Give a thumbs up or say hi in the comments if you're on. I may have missed your comment already, so I will have a look in just a second. And Dorian says, mine is not so much a question, it's just the procedure in setting up a property business, limited company, the redress scheme, and all of that. Just seeing if Dorian's on. Oh, I think you're a bit after me on YouTube, so I'll look in a moment and see if you're on. Now, two things for this, guys. in the 6-step system to set up your own business, we've set out everything that you need to do to set up your business, and you can get that free. And now that I can see that I can do this, I'm going to do it again. I can, here it is. So if you go to rent2rentsuccess.com, there's a bit where you can see that you can download this 6-step system to get your first deal. And when you click, it'll bring you to this page. And then you go inside. This is another one, but it's very similar. And you'll have some videos and you'll have some documents, and it'll take you through that 6-step system to get your first deal. But for now, I will just talk you. Oh no, that's the landlords. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yes, the ideas are because I had gotten the phases for the business setup all up online, and now I have put them away, so I don't have them to just walk you through them. But I will come back to that and walk you through those steps, Dorian. And also you can log in and download that free on there, and you'll get the steps to take to set up your business in there. And the other thing that I did say that I would be talking about today is landlords, and how to persuade landlords if you've just started, because this is a question that I get asked all the time. And one of the things that I say is, if you want landlords to really want to give their properties to you, you have to be certain and go in with certainty. When a landlord calls you on the telephone, you've got to be really clear about what you're offering them. And the way to become certain, and people say, well, how can I be certain when I'm not certain? I don't know if I can do this. I've never done it before. What you can be certain of when you've got no experience is that you can feel real certainty in that you're going to do whatever it takes to look after that property exceptionally well. And then you can speak from the heart, knowing that you're going to do an amazing job for that landlord, and that will really come across to you in everything else you do. So that's the first thing. The second thing is write down your offer. Now this is really important, and it's a bit that people skip because it seems too basic. Well, but if you write down a couple of paragraphs, what is my service? Okay, it's guaranteed rent. It's, well, our bit is guaranteed rent, freedom from tenant management, and total peace of mind. And I've said it so many times that it sort of trips off my tongue. But there's a bit more than that, where you've got a couple of paragraphs that says very simply what you offer. So you can give that to landlords, you can give it to agents. When you go in for a meeting, when you know what your service is, it just creates a different feeling inside yourself, and that's what other people can pick up on. Now, we've also got what to say to landlords when they get in touch with you. Now, I can go through our 8 questions again. I know that some of you may already know them, but basically it's very much about listening a lot to what the landlord's saying. When people get that call, they start to worry and start going into panic mode. But really, it's just about doing a lot of listening, because your objective when the landlord calls you is really to listen, understand. And then at the very end, after a long conversation in which the landlord has done a lot of the talking, then you're going to make your offer very simply and ask for the viewing. And most cases, that is the model that's going to work for you. So I'm going to dive in, because I saw when I looked across over here at the comments earlier that there had been some questions. Good evening, all from the North Sea. Oh my goodness, Andrew Duffy's in the North Sea. Goodness me, what's it like out there? So I'm going to answer a question now from Paul Hutton, and Paul says, when you refurb a property, how do you see the change? Do you go all white walls, new carpets? What's your step-by-step when converting a property into a great looking room? This is a fantastic question, Paul. It comes in two parts. Now, everyone does this a little bit differently, and it kind of depends on your area and what rent you want. Like, do you want a medium rent? Do you want a low rent, or do you want a high rent? Do you want professional tenants? Do you want, more blue collar or DSS? So you're pitching your product to fit with the customers that you're wanting to buy it. So, and some people are really constrained in the budget by what they're going to do. So I'll explain quickly what we do and the other options that you can do. So a lot of people do go just for white or magnolia and then dress it up nicely with, great pictures and soft furnishings and all of that. And that can really work well. We tend to use different colors on the walls. Now that, if you're getting contractors in, using colors on the walls really bumps up the price. So that's why all white or all magnolia can really be a cost-effective solution, and then spend a little bit more on the soft furnishings and dressing, which is obviously cheaper and is going to get you a decent looking property. So I hope that was a good answer. If you've got more questions, Paul, let me know. We've had lots of interest into this. How much does it cost? I can see that Steve is on. Hello, and Ophelia. I can see lots of you are on, but I can't say hello to everyone. Hey, Stephanie, what do you say to agents? This is a good one, Frankie, and this is one that so many people worry about as well. I say that about everything, don't I? But I know that since we've been doing the coaching, that there are some things that people really, really do worry about, and speaking to agents is one of them. So we've done a simple script, and it's a very simple basic script. And the reason why we did that is because when you're feeling nervous, you don't come across as your best. So we really want people to be relaxed, because talking to an agent on the phone or speaking to an agent in a letting agency office is just talking to someone on the phone and speaking to someone, things that we all do every day, or most days certainly. But we build up, or many people build it up into a fear or a mental block. And I know that what a lot of the students have said when they've been through it is that they're amazed after a few weeks how easy they find it talking to agents. In fact, they went as far as to say that what they realized was a lot of times the agents don't actually know a lot of things. I mean, obviously agent experience really varies, but many are new graduates or new to letting agencies, so they don't know everything, but they do know that they want somebody who can pay the rent. They want somebody who's going to look after the property. They want somebody who is going to be a long-term good tenant, and you can provide all that. So that's incredible. But the thing that they want as a letting agent that you don't, or that you can't provide straight away, or they don't see that straight away, is minimal risk. Every transaction that we do as a letting agent, or that any other letting agent does, we're assessing the risk. What's the risk that this tenant is going to be a problem? And that's the risk we want to minimize. So once you can show them how you are a minimal risk person or company, then it's such a win for them, because they can, when a landlord comes to them with a tricky HMO, they just pick up, or any kind of HMO, tricky or non-tricky, they just pick up the phone to you. They don't even have to market their product. They don't even have to think about selling it. They just pick up the phone to you. You're going to take it on. They're still going to get their fees. That's their main concern. And you're going to do all the work. So it's an absolute win for them. So when working with agents, the thing is to show that you're going to give them their fees, you're going to pay the rent, you're going to look after the property, and you have to demonstrate this minimal risk. And you do that by a number of things. One is just being very honest with them, always doing what you say you will when you will. Did I say that correctly? I think you get what I mean. Do what you say you will. Yeah, do what you say you will. Do what you say you will. Anyway. Maybe speaking English better than I do. So the script basically is to say, hi, there, I've seen such and such a property on so and so road. Who's the best person to speak to? Speak to that person and say, hi, is such and such a property still available? I'm looking for a long-term let. Would the landlord consider a long-term let for this one? So they're either going to say, yes, the landlord would consider a long-term let, and then you can ask to arrange a viewing, or because their antennae will go up when you say long-term let, because they think, oh, this is not a normal thing. And then you can say, yes, we do long-term lets for HMOs, and pay the guaranteed rent. You'll get your fees as normal, because you've got to say you'll get your fees as normal, and we'll look after the property. And you just take it from there, and then book the viewing. Or they might say no, they're not into that, or they might say, do you mean subletting, or things like that. And then we've got tips on how to handle the objections that you might get. But it's just a really simple conversation, which you can help them with a problem that they've got, and you're a solution. So, but not every agent's going to go for it. That's just normal life. You have to go for no and keep going until you get the one. And that's the great thing about rent to rent, is you don't actually need many properties to be making a really fantastic living. And again, in the free download that you can get, which is the 6 steps to get your first deal, which I showed you earlier, we've got some case studies of ours as well that you'll be able to see just the sort of thing that you could be doing. Hi, what do you say to agents? Yes. So Frankie said, will this be shown as an episode? I'm offshore. Oh, and the feed is very intermittent. Oh my goodness. Is it intermittent for everyone? Is it intermittent for you, Nikki Taylor? Let me know in the comments down below. Andrew, yeah, it'll be available on YouTube. Excellent. I'm getting a couple of minutes each time. Oh, good point. What do you recommend if the landlord asks for a guaranteed rent insurance? Well, I mean, if it's a deal that you want to take and you're happy to take the guaranteed rent insurance, I would just take the guaranteed rent insurance. Do you have reservations about doing that, Jonathan? It's the same as what I was saying for the letting agents just now, is that the landlords want minimal risk as well. They want safety, they want peace of mind. And this is just giving him a bit of extra peace of mind. So it's maybe something that you could do for the beginning. And then once he's got to know you, or she, maybe they won't require it. So if you have a follow-up, let me know. Do you bother if the current landlord is quite insistent that they want to sell on rather than take a back seat and rent? Well, who was that? That's Andrew Duffy in the North Sea, is that right? Andrew, what I would do is go back, because if the landlord is insistent right now that he wants to sell it, first of all, you could offer him a lease option, or her a lease option. But if they're not going for that, then just leave it and say, leave the door open and just say, right, okay, well, you don't want what I can offer you at the moment, but look, come back to me if things change and you want to rent it out, or you're interested in a lease option. I mean, you wouldn't say lease option, but try that, Andrew. We find things come back to you. We've had properties that people were selling that they felt our offer, we thought was a very fair offer. Actually, it was actually higher than the property ended up going to auction and not selling. And then eventually it's come down to 100 grand less than he was obviously asking way too much in the first place. But yes, you might find that it comes back to you. So put it in your reminder to get in touch, a month later or 2 months later. It's all in the follow-up. The gold's in the follow-up, Andrew. So good luck with that one. See if it comes back. And most people don't follow up, so you could have a good chance there. So Ali says, is it worth starting out as a sole trader and then spending more time later to set up a limited company? Or is it better to start the proper way by registering a limited company in the first place? Ali, that is a really good question as well. And I think that's all down to certainty. So if you feel unsure about whether this is for you, whether you'll like it, whether you'll get the deal or whatever, then I think the sole trader is a great way to start up. And then once you get your first deal, then you can, and once you get your first deal, and if you want to carry on, then you can start a limited company. I think that's absolutely a fine way to do it. When we started, we set up a limited company straight away, because I just had this idea that this was it. I was definitely doing it, and it was definitely going to work. And I don't know why I felt so certain, because I'd had so much disappointment before that, and I'd had quite a low period as well. But when it came to this rent to rent, I was really certain. So we set up the limited company straight away, and that's worked out well for us. But absolutely, why not start out as a sole trader, and then once you've got your first property in place and you want to take it a bit bigger, go for limited. Great strategy. So good feed here, sis. Oh good. Lois and Nikki's saying it's all right. Oh, all good reception in France. So we've got Steve coming in live and direct from Val d'Isère. Lewis can't know. Thanks, Stephanie. Where could I get these scripts from? At the moment, the scripts are just in the course, but all the information I give away free on the YouTubes, as I like to call it, and on the Facebook. You can just write it down. I mean, the script, it's just coming from the heart. Basically, you're calling the agent, you're asking about a property. It's that simple. I think what you really get from the course is not so much that the script, it's being in the group of other people who are doing the same thing. And the people in the group, they said that what they loved is that they see other people who are new, who've got no experience, who were terrified, who were scared, calling up the agents and going into the agents. And that's what makes them think, right, okay, I'm going to have to do it. Or they know that we've got an accountability call the following week, and they think, right, okay, I've done nothing this week, I need to make a few calls. So it's not so much the actual words, it's just that. So what I suggest is just try it out with what I told you in the video. Get an accountability group or friends or whatever to do it, to help you to push along, because it's just actually doing it and taking the actions rather than, the perfection of having a script, although obviously a script does help. So thanks for that one, Frankie. Question from the Green Project. When messaging a vendor, how is the best way to go about it? Oh, Green Project. I think that, I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean when you're messaging a vendor on Spare Room or Rightmove or somewhere? And do you mean somebody who's selling their property or somebody who's renting their property? I'll give my tips for both anyway. So if you're messaging a vendor on Rightmove or Spare Room or one of those places, a landlord, and you're offering a guaranteed rent, I think again it's just a very simple is best. I saw your property on such and such, and I'm very interested in taking out a long-term let. Is this something you would be open to, and could I possibly arrange a viewing? I think, or if the telephone number is there, I'd always give a call, because a call lets a little bit more back and forth. It's a little bit more easy. You can find out a little bit more about it. How long has it been on the market? What are they looking for? What are they open to? And you can get a bit further, I think, on a telephone call than on a message. So that's the message I would send if they were renting out their property and I was contacting them on Spare Room, Rightmove, or one of those. And then if they're selling their property, see, that's a different kettle of fish altogether, because they're looking for one thing. So I would contact sellers who their property's been on the market for a long time and it hasn't sold, because rarely will you find people who've just put their property on the market who want to take an alternative when really they wanted the cash. So, but people who've had their property on the market for a long time, definitely worth writing to them and saying, I've noticed your property is available. Would you be open to leasing it long term on a guaranteed rent basis? And if they're in pain because they're paying a mortgage on a property they can't sell and somebody's offering them a guaranteed rent, that could be enough to get your foot in the door. So I hope I've covered off what you were meaning, Green Project. If not, go back on. Let me see. Oh, good. Sorry about this. There's so many, aren't there? What is your due diligence process? This is a question from Andrew Duffy. Andrew's got a lot going on while he's out there in the North Sea with the questions. Thanks, Andrew. Due diligence. Do you mean due diligence? Well, there's two types of due diligence, isn't there? I think, but tell me if you mean something else. There's one where a landlord comes to you and you've gone to a viewing and they want you to take on their property, and you're doing your due diligence to make sure that it's a good deal and that it's going to be money making for you. And you need to make sure that the owner is the owner. And it's the same just when you're just about to sign the deal, you need to make sure of that. So the due diligence is by doing the deal analysis spreadsheet. That's the number one, because you need to see if the deal stacks, and you need to be able to adjust the figures so you can put in the costs that you know approximately that are going to be paid on running that HMO, and then you can put in, well, if I pay the landlord, you know, £1,000 a month, then I'm going to get this much profit. If I pay the landlord £800 a month, then it would be this, and then you can work out, and with the deal analysis spreadsheet, you can keep changing the number and see how the profit changes, and then that'll give you your range of rents that you can offer and make a profit, and knowing that all the costs are covered. So that's the first bit of due diligence. And the second one is if that deal gets agreed, then you would want to be looking at the land registry for £3, because your contract would mean nothing if it's not signed by the person who owns the property. So those are the two important bits of due diligence for rent to rent. But if you meant something else, Andrew, let me know in the comments and I will come back to it. So where are we? What's your due diligence? Oh, Sophie Usher. Hello, Sophie Usher. Hi, Stephanie and Nikki. When getting a house license, do you have to wait till it's been approved before renting out to tenants? And is this something I can do, or does the landlord have to apply? Great questions. So it varies, but I would check with the council. In most cases, as long as you've applied for the license, you can tenant the property, but I would always check with the council before going ahead. But that's the situation in most cases, that you can tenant if you have already applied. Now, who should do it, the landlord or the you? I would suggest who can pay for it. It's up to either. How we do it is that the landlord is named as the license holder and we're named as the managing agent on the license, and that's the way that we like to do it. In all of our deals, the landlords also pay for the licensing of the property, but I know that in certain deals it might work out well for you to pay for the licensing of the property, and it might be a case where it's a fantastically profitable property but the landlord refuses to pay. In that case, because you're going to be making so much money, then you would license it. But how we do it here, and it might vary for you because I know people do all different ways, is that we're the managers, the owner is the license holder, but we do help with all the paperwork and admin. So typically what will happen is the owner will fill in the bits that they can fill in, and then send it to us, and we'll fill in the rest, because we'll have all the certificates and all of that for the property and all that, and we'll fill all the rest in and our managing bit and then send it on. So we help them with it. So they fill a little bit and then we do the rest. So I hope that that I've completed the answer okay for you, Soph. Let me know if you've got any follow-ups. Ingrid. Oh, hi, Ingrid. Hi, Stephanie. I've only just joined. Can I watch again later on YouTube? Yeah, of course you can. It will be on. I might have to trim off the front, you know, where I had you waiting for a long time. I'm constantly getting no's from landlords and agents. How can I convince them? This is KJ Ballas. And he says, or she, I can't see the photo, KJ Ballas, I'm constantly getting no's from landlords and agents. How can I convince them? And should I look for properties in Article 4 areas? This is a great question, KJ Ballas. Well, I'm going to ask you a question back Do you believe that a landlord or an agent would give you a property? Because sometimes that's where people have problems, because they don't believe it. They don't believe it themselves. And when you go out from a place where you don't believe something, even though you're taking the action, you might be taking the action in a way that it communicates to other people without you knowing it, that you don't believe it. And as I was saying earlier on, it's hard to believe when you haven't done something, when you're doing something when you're doing something for the first time. So, but you've got to get that belief. And I know that's hard, but just start off by saying in the mornings that I know I'm going to get a first deal. I know I'm going to get a deal. I know I'm going to get a deal. And then keep taking your actions, and your confidence will come. First of all, it will be that you make a call to an agent and things go better. Things go better, you know, it's not a no, or, you know, but you have to go, and then your confidence will build, and gradually you'll get better and you will get a deal. What happens really is that because we are all programmed genetically to dislike being rejected, is that people give up before they get their deal. And there's a great book called Go for No, and it's a very skinny book. It's a really quick read, but I suggest read through that, and it gives you a new mentality for getting to where you want to get to. For knowing that every time someone says no, you're closer to the yes. So you know that a lot of properties you see are not going to be the one, but you only need one, and then that property could be bringing you. We always like to say 5 years, so that's 60. You know, if it was £1,000 a month, even if it was £500 a month, right? That's £30,000 over 5 years in profit on one property. So just keep going for the one. Just keep going for the one, KJ. Hi, Ingrid, got your question. Hi, Gala's got yours too. Joe Golding, hello. You sent me a message yesterday. What's the most effective way to find the landlords? Cutting out the agents? Is it leaflets? We like the HMO landlord list, but maybe you're talking about properties that are not HMOs. Maybe that's what you're talking about, Joe. So I think leaflets, yeah, are a good way. I would suggest just finding the roads in your area that have the sort of houses that you're looking for, and leaflet very targeted, so that, because it can be an expensive business, leafleting, and you need to keep doing it as well. You can't just do one round. You've got to keep doing it, you know, every 1 or 2 months. So leafleting can work well. But if you're looking for non-HMO properties, then I think agents are great partners to have, because they have so many properties. So if you're looking maybe for service accommodation, and that's why you're asking the question, then agents are great partners to have, and you only need 1 or 2 agents and they can keep churning out the properties for you. So I think worth persisting, you know, with the agents. This is a great question as well from Ophelia, which is, how do you track and manage viewings and due diligence analysis? Now, this is good. So there are 2 ways. One, originally I had a spreadsheet with all of the contacts. So we can go onto that spreadsheet and see, is it a landlord, is it an investor, and all the details about how they heard about us and their property and their family and their dogs. All of that was in there. But now I've recently started using Asana, and how I set that up was in the columns. So each column had a step in the process. So received telephone call, added to, we've got an emailing list for the landlords, added to emailing list, and books of viewing, and all of that along. And then you just can move the person along the chart, and everyone can log in and use it. So we started using Asana, that's ASANA, to log all that. When you say tracking the due diligence, we have a separate system. So we do every viewing that we go on where we're considering taking the property, we'll do the deal analysis spreadsheet, and we'll keep that deal analysis spreadsheet. That's the due diligence, really. That's it. That's it. That's it. Plus that and the land registry. And so that's how we do it. It's really simple. But maybe if you're doing SA, you'd want to have a slightly different system because you might have a higher volume of properties. Obviously, when you're doing HMO, it's a lower volume of properties usually that you've got coming through the system. I mean, we might have like, I don't know, between 2 and 10 inquiries a week. Some weeks there'll be hardly any, some weeks it'll feel quite busy. But still, overall, the numbers are low, so it's quite easier to manage. Hi, Stephanie, on the boat heading back to the UK now. Simon Jennings, hello, hi, how are you doing? See you soon. Enjoy your viewings. Simon was on the coaching as well, and he recently sent out his landlord letters, and he got 4 telephone calls within a few days. And so he's on his way back to the UK to do all the viewings. So keep everything crossed for him that some of those viewings come off. JB Will Properties, hello. Dorian West, Stephanie, I'm here. Oh, you need to do more YouTube lives, very informative. Well, I'm glad it's worked, because you know what I'm like with these things. And it often could go wrong. It often could go wrong, very, very wrong indeed. But we managed it. So I'm really happy, because we were trying it out earlier today and it wasn't working. It wasn't working. It wasn't working. Anyway, it's working. Another question, which software do you use to manage your property and your tenants? Okay, great question. There's so many good questions this evening. So Dorian, so we have been using Arthur property management software, and it's good. It's big. It's a bit more expensive when you get a lot of people into it, and it's not totally intuitive to the user. But that was the one that was available when we started. Now, there's another one that I would use now if I was starting out called GoTenant. And it looks really good. And, you know, many of you will know Rick Gannon, who runs GoTenant, who set up GoTenant, well-known HMO, landlord, author, and many other things, words I can't think of. So GoTenant is got a really fantastic user interface. It looks really friendly. I don't know if a software can look friendly, and it does everything you need it to do. So I think that's where we would go, but it would just be such a nightmare for us to move now, because we've got so many, you know, so much info in the system already. So what I would suggest is have a look at the ones that you like the look of, take the free trial. You can take the free trial of GoTenant, and we've got a special link. I'll put it in the comments later, because if you use our link, then it still costs you the same price. And you also get a bonus, because it gives you 10 extra units included, because it's £20 a month, and it should be up to 20 units, but you get up to 30 units. Which obviously at the beginning you won't have that many, but later on that will really be a big saving. Yeah, and if you use our link, then obviously we get a few pennies as well. It doesn't cost you any more, and you also get that little upgrade. So we'll post that link for you later on. So have you started already, Dorian? I know you hadn't started when I spoke last time, but you might have done now. Glad you're able to make it. Yes, glad you made it. Thanks, Steph. Sophie's saying, hopefully it'll be some good news for you soon. Oh, I hope so, Sophie, because you've had so many negotiations now, which tells me that you're very, very close. And, you know, well done on your fabulous service department as well. So have I got anything else? Oh, dear. They make it so small, don't they, these texts? Hello, friends. Thanks for your time and knowledge. Who wrote that book, Go for No? Oh, Nikki's given the answer. Thanks, Pete. Got your question. Oh dear, yes, I agree. You need to do these more often. Oh, that's so nice. Hey, Stephanie, at what stage do you have to register for HMRC for anti-money laundering? Eloquent Empress 1, you don't have to. That's one thing you don't have to do for this. I think you do for deal sourcing, I understand, but not for rent to rent. So that's one thing you don't have to do. And Dan Wilkes says, hi, Stephanie, in Article 4, would you still target houses that are currently not licensed HMOs? So, Dan Wilkes, this is a good question. So we are in an Article 4 equivalent area and we only target HMOs. That's just personal choice. We just like it that way. If you were in an area where you could target non-HMOs, oh, sorry. So to answer the question, no, we wouldn't. If we were in an Article 4 area, we wouldn't target non-HMOs and then get the licensing put on. But some people do that and find that it kind of works for them because maybe you've got less competition on those properties because other people are not doing that. So what I would say is look at the deal analysis spreadsheet. Let me show you this. Let's see if I can show you. Yes, this is it. This is the deal analysis spreadsheet. If I go out to the dashboard, oh, this is the insides of it. But let me go back in where you can see all of the courses, and this is a free course, and there's videos in there, and there's what else is in there? There's other things in there, a guide to the deal analysis spreadsheet explaining it all. So really, if you haven't got that, then it's free. You go to rentssuccess.com and you'll see on there that there's links to get the deal analysis spreadsheet. Because really, that's the backbone to it. Any property you see, any landlord you see, anything, even if it looks dreadful and the room's of the right state, if you put it through the deal analysis spreadsheet, then you know whether it's going to be good or not, because you can say, okay, this property is going to need £1,000 spending on it, or £2,000, or however many thousand. This is what I need to pay the landlord. This is what, so that's how we work it out. Is it going to stack after you've put the fire regs in and all of that? Is the deal going to stack? Is the landlord going to pay for all these other expenses to make the deal stack, or are you going to pay for it and get a much lower rent or a rent-free period? So use the deal analysis spreadsheet because that'll help you to answer the question. So the question is, if it's a good deal, yes, do it. If it's not a good deal, don't do it. So, and sometimes 4 beds don't work. We've got 1 4-bed, but we've had other 4-beds where we're not able to offer enough because the cost of running a 4-bed is very similar to running a 5-bed, 6-bed, 7-bed, 8-bed, but the income on it is not great. So so you have to see. In an article, Peter Clark, in these transactions, what role does the solicitor play? And when do you include them, i.e. contracts, agreements, licenses? Right, Peter Clark. I was quite worried about this when we started because I wanted to make sure that we had the right contract and not just take somebody else's contract. But what I found out was, so we did go to a solicitor and we got our own contract. But what I found out was that the solicitors all use a basic template. There's a lease contract, there's a management agreement contract, and there's a lease contract, and they're the same for all solicitors. And then each solicitor tweakles it around to their own. So if you go to a solicitor, they would definitely change your contract because otherwise they don't feel they're earning their money. They won't just say, okay, that looks fine. They're going to tweak it because otherwise they don't feel they're earning their money. But all the contracts are basically the same. So you can go to a solicitor for each transaction, each deal. You can go to the solicitor just to get the first deal and get the contract. We have also got contracts that we're selling, which have got all the rent to rent clauses. And we were very careful to have our solicitor put in everything that we knew that we would need from the experience of running the business. and you can buy those. The other thing is this is a slow, oh my goodness. We've tried all sorts of different ones and it always seems to be the same. I don't know. Somebody was saying in the Facebook group the other day, the same thing. Solicitors are slow and solicitors are expensive. And what will come back to you is virtually the same. It'll be virtually the same as what we give you. In fact, likelihood is it'll be less good because we've got a lot of clauses in ours that are not in the standard one. So that's the only time you really need a solicitor. That's the only time you want to get involved with a solicitor, because you want the contract to be such that you never need to refer to it. You want to have a good relationship with all your landlords, and if there's a dispute or anything, you want to be able to talk it over with them and come to a resolution, because none of us can afford really to be going to court over these things. You want to come to some sort of amicable resolution. So you only need solicitors once, I would say, with your contracts, or you can buy the contracts already made. Going back to agents, why would they still be collecting a fee? Yes, I thought one of the benefits to landlord was saving them on lettings fees. Well, what happens is, Paul Hutton, is I didn't get this as well when I first started, so I'm just guessing that you're just thinking about getting started. You maybe just heard about this and think, how does this work? Because the agents are doing their work. So what's basically happened is the agent is letting out the property. The landlord is paying the agent. The agent is letting out the property. The tenant pays the agent, who keeps 10% or whatever the percentage is, and gives 90% of the rent to the landlord. So that's how it works. When you come into the equation as the tenant, it's still exactly the same. So you're paying the agent the same money. Let's say it's £1,000. You're still paying the agent the £1,000, and the agent is paying the landlord £900. So the landlord's seen no change. The landlord was paying £900. The landlord was receiving £900 for the peace of mind of knowing the agent is managing it. Okay, and that situation is still happening. So you're paying the £1,000 rent, and the landlord is still getting his £900 rent. So nothing's changed. But what the agents are fearful of is that you're going to go direct with the landlord. And that is why a lot of agents don't want to work with rent to rent. And a lot of rent to rent people do want to cut out the landlords. So, you can't blame them for being cautious. So if you want to have a long-term relationship with an agent, which that could be very valuable to you, then you would want to keep the agent in the deal and keep paying your rent £1,000 as normal, and the landlord keeps receiving his £900 as normal. So let me see what other question, because I can see that there are more. Why would the landlord? Yeah, there's no reason for the landlord to be paying the agent, but that's how you found them, and that's why the agent wanted to give you the deal, because they weren't losing their whatever it is, they weren't losing their fee. So that was Paul. Oh my gosh, I think I might have to draw to a close, because yes, we've been on for almost an hour. Please explain the subject of licensing. Another question, what confidence do I need and where do I get them from? Okay, we have got some contracts you can buy. You also get them included when you come on coaching with us. How do I find the HMO properties? HMO letters. I think because we've got so many questions, I will do this again now that I can see that it works. But I don't want to go over an hour, and I think that I could be wearing out my welcome, really, couldn't I? I could be wearing out my welcome, so I don't want to go over an hour. So what I'm going to do is see what else I wanted to share with you in the back before we head off. I was showing the deal analysis spreadsheet. Oh gosh, the competition! Oh my goodness, the competition. Yeah, I was just showing you some of the things that we have, like the landlord calls checklist and the agents scripts, and if you haven't joined already, oh sorry, I've showed somebody's. If you haven't joined already, do join the Rent to Rent Secrets. And also on YouTube. Oh yeah, you're on YouTube. You're on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and also like this video. And let's go back to this competition. Yes, I'll have to see if I might have to do it afterwards, because you know what I'm like. I'm looking and I can't see, and I won't know who's the closest. And then I'll say somebody was the closest, but I'll tell you what the answer is. I'll tell you what the answer is, and then afterwards I'll go through the comments when we're not live. So the answer was to set up the business, including all the things that I mentioned, was £572. And that was with everything and a little bit more expensive on the website and a few other bits and a few other little bells and whistles. And the cheapest, so you could do it cheaper, but that was £572 is the answer. And so I'm going to see who is closest to £572. I can see that Lara is very close, but I need to check all the answers before I say. But I think it's less than, well, it's less than I would have thought to get started. And then obviously you need more money for a refurb and rent and deposit and all that. But it's actually, money's not the barrier that people think it is. And the other part of this is that because we live in the country we live in, a rich country, it's not resources that's the problem, it's resourcefulness. That was a real aha for me the first time I heard it, because for many years in my life, I really was struggling financially. And when I first heard that, I was quite irritated, because I thought, well, it is resources that are the problem. It's not resourcefulness, it is resource. But if you think about it, if you wanted to make an extra £500 or £1,000 this month, you could do it. You could definitely do it. You could sell things. You could sell services. Maybe you play guitar. Maybe you do ironing. Maybe you could teach football. You could put an ad on Gumtree and sell services. You could sell things. We've all got way too many things, haven't we? So it's all about, you know, having the resourcefulness to be able to get the resources to get on and to do the things that you want to be able to do, just one step at a time, one property at a time, one viewing at a time, one call at a time, one step at a time. But thank you so much to all of you for joining us tonight. We will do this again. I'll let you know when. And I'll look at the questions that haven't been answered today, and we'll cover them on the next one. And you know, obviously keep asking, and we will keep answering. It's been great to be with you. Glad it worked. That's such a relief, because I must admit I was worried about that today. And of course, you know, we've got our free stuff as well, so you can sign up for that, and we'll put. Well, I was just looking to see if I had anything else to tell you. And also, because I wasn't able to walk you through the step-by-step of setting up your business, download the free one, Dorian. You maybe have already done it, but we've got a new video. I re-recorded the video because the audio was terrible originally, and I've re-recorded the video. I did that. I got a new microphone and so on. I've re-recorded the video and I've put it all in there. So use that to do the setting up your own business. Okay, my dears. I will call it to a close. Good night. Have a lovely evening. Bye for now. Bye.